Welcome to the Woodpreneur Podcast, the best podcast for the business and marketing side of the sawmill, lumber, and wood industry. What's a woodpreneur? If you have a business where you make money as a woodworker, sawmill owner, selling slabs, or a content creator, then you're a woodpreneur. My name's Steve Larosiliere, and I started Woodpreneur Life, Acres of Timber, and the Woodpreneur Podcast just for makers, wood entrepreneurs, and small business owners just like you. We're on a mission to empower thousands of wood businesses to grow sustainably and put out great products. Each week, I interview makers, sawyers, content creators, and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that know the wood industry inside and out. With topics covering everything from the urban lumber movement, sustainable sourcing and design, we'll discuss the ins and outs of how to grow, monetize, and fully immerse yourself in the woodpreneur lifestyle. If you're a hobbyist, a full-time wood business owner, part-time entrepreneur who wants to become a content creator, or quit your day job to pursue your dreams, the Woodpreneur Podcast is just for you. Thanks so much for listening. Now enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur Podcast. This is your host, Steve Larosiliere. Today's guest is Mike McCormack from McCormack Builders in Boston. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. I'm excited to have you on. Why don't you tell everybody about McCormack Builders?
McCormack Builders, we're a custom home builder located about 11 miles outside of the city of Boston. We specialize in new homes, whole house renovations, historic restoration, additions. Basically, that's the four core parts of our company from a work standpoint. A little bit more about the company. All our construction is in-house, so we've got a full line of carpenters that does all our own framing, exteriors and interiors. All our projects are managed by full-time PMs. We're a decent sized company.
Yep.
That's just a little bit about us. We've been in business since 2003.
Okay.
So going on 21 years.
Wow.
So yeah, it's gone by pretty quick.
How'd you get started? What's the origin story?
Well, my background is in engineering. I was a mechanical engineer. That's what I went to college for, but I had a fondness for woodwork.
Yeah.
My father was a craftsman in Ireland, and I got to see him perfect his craft for many, many years as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
And on college release in 1997, I came out for the summer, loved it. Worked with who happens to be my brother-in-law, who's still a contractor, doing roofing and all that sort of fun stuff, and just decided that I wanted to come back in 2002. So I left my career and changed paths, and I set up my own company then back in 2003, and the rest is history.
You left. So you left in 2002. You left Ireland, or you left?
Yeah, I left Ireland in 2002. Moved to the States on March 25th, 2002. And I had my own company set up in April of 2003. So, I didn't delay, I saw an opportunity, and, that's it. Took on our first project, and, as I said, the rest is history. It's just, it's been...
That's pretty brash. That's brash. Because the United States just finished going through 9/11, and,
yeah.
And you decided to just come to the belly of the beast and start up your own company. Where did I mean, it sounds weird to say, but who gave you permission to do that?
Well, it was never planned, to be honest with you. I was working on a project, and I had my first client, who I didn't know at the time, was watching what I was working on.
Yeah.
And he watched me for weeks and weeks and weeks. And he approached me one day, and he said, I want you to take a look at my house. I want to get the whole thing resided. And I said, listen, I'm actually working for the company at the front of the building. I don't work for myself. I said, here's the number if you want to call him. And he said, no, I want to talk to you. I want you to do it. So I said, okay. Let's take a look. I looked at it. I gave him a price, and he says, when can you start? So
Wow.
I gave my notice in to the guy I was working with. I had one project lined up. That was it.
Wow.
Didn't know what the future held outside of that. But I took a chance and I said, right, let's do it. Let's go for it and see where it takes us. And that's it. It just one after another since 2003. That's basically where we're at today.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think he
Cool.
saw in you that made him?
Um, you know, I was a pretty particular carpenter, to be honest with you. Really conscious on the details. So I was wood shingling a house, and he was watching me weaving corners, doing inside corners, doing bell casts, all this sort of stuff. So he was watching what I was doing, and he liked what he saw.
Yeah.
And he was willing to take a chance on me. He knew I wasn't working for myself, and like. As they say, the American dream. I just got that opportunity and I ran with it, and I put the head down and just worked really hard to see where it could take me. And back then it was just me and one guy. That was it. I had to borrow the pump station to do this house because I didn't have all the equipment I needed. Now I had all my own tools, and I had a truck that I recently purchased at the time, which I actually still have to this day. I never got rid of it. It's
Wow.
kind of a treasured memento for me. Is I kept my first work truck that I bought in the States back in
Wow.
2003, and I still have it.
Yeah.
It's off the road. It's off the road, but we still have it. So he saw my passion for what I was doing, and we got on really, really well, which is one of the most important things when working for somebody is that initial relationship and how you build that trust and confidence in the client to take that risk with you and hire you, especially it being and given it was my first project for myself. So,
Yeah.
he was willing to take a chance, and I still actually maintain the house to this day. He has passed on since, but I maintain it for his family,
Wow.
his sons and daughters. Yeah, so we've a long relationship, and so I have to thank him sincerely for giving me that
Believing
opportunity
in you.
because
Yeah.
and believing in me because maybe life would have taken me in a different direction if he didn't believe in me. So for that I'm really thankful.
I'm gonna stop for a second, and I'm on your Facebook page. Your headquarters is literally like a dream headquarters. It looks beautiful. Is that where you're at right now?
No, that's where we're going to be moving to.
Oh
So
my God.
it's
Tomorrow? It looks like tomorrow's the open house.
no. So tomorrow we're having an open house.
Yeah.
To basically walk people through what a large engineered frame looks like.
Yeah.
So it's a little over 9,000 square feet, and it's a fully engineered frame. So there's no kill and drive material in this build at all,
Yeah.
bar the strapping. So we're having an open house just to basically show people what the opportunities can be with an engineered frame. We're hoping to move in June. That's our plan.
It
So
looks
it's really exciting
beautiful,
for us.
man.
It's a
It
big,
looks
yeah.
really,
Thank
really
you.
beautiful. Honestly, like everybody go to McCormack Builders, McCormack Builders Facebook page. It's beautiful. It is.
Yeah.
Is that like a dream of yours to have a building like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's 10 years ago, possibly not. Didn't really see it 10 years ago, but as we grew, yeah, for the last 5 years, yeah, it was on my radar every year to see if we could find something. And we looked at a lot of buildings. We got outbid. They weren't the proper fit for us, and we got lucky. We found this lot. And that was permitted for this size of a building, and we went after it straight away. It's like 10 minutes from my current office.
Wow.
So it just happened. Dunkin' Donuts one Sunday morning, I get a ping on my phone, new listing. I say, "What's this?" And I drove by it straight away. It was full of trees.
Yeah.
There was nothing there, only trees. And I said, "Right, let's go after this. This is what we want." So that's it. We went from there, purchased it, and developed all the drawings, and started construction. Late summer last year. So we'll be moving in June 1. That's our plan.
Well, congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate it.
what? So you got this first job. What happens after, and how did you start to like grow and scale the business?
Well, basically, when I started his job, I had, it was a pretty busy street. So, same thing, people walking by. There was no Instagram, there was no Facebook. I didn't advertise back then. It was all word of mouth. It
Hmm.
was uh, colleagues of this first client, and it was people walking by. And that's one thing led to another. And if it wasn't for them, it was for somebody they knew in on their street
Yeah.
or in their town that they saw me working, and the name started to get spread around, and from there, I started to develop my clientele,
Hmm.
and that was it. It was word of mouth, to be honest with you, and it was basically our bills were showcasing what we do, and we were being picked up from people driving by.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I said, we didn't have the joys of Instagram and social media platforms back then. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. What was your first critical hire?
my first critical hire, God. That's a really good question. I've had some fantastic carpenters down through the years that worked alongside me,
Hmm.
um, and they came and they went, moved back to Ireland, moved to Australia, etc. Um, I suppose you know having somebody that you can trust around you, especially when you're a small operation, and if there's only two or three of you, if one guy lets you down, it makes it hard for the other two, especially if it's a decent sized project.
Yeah.
So without naming names, there's been a lot of really, really critical hires I've made in my career, and I suppose none more so than in the last couple of years where we expanded into an office environment, because up to up to probably 2020, I was doing everything in house myself. I was doing all the payroll, all the insurance work, all the bills. It was crazy. I was doing all that, and back then we had like 17 or 18 carpenters
Mm.
working for me. So it was quite busy and a full range of subs. So moving into an environment with office staff and hiring some really good people to come in with me was probably the best move I've ever made, to be honest with you. And I have I'm really really thankful for the my right hand woman, Brenna. She's my CFO, and she's like incredible. So I look back and think to myself, how did I do this when I didn't have Brenna? And now I look at when I have Brenna, and I like, I don't ever want to lose
Yeah.
her. I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean, she's
Yeah.
just, she's amazing. She's my right hand. So, and it's the same with the field staff. From we've moved on to having project managers on all our jobs, and they've been an incredible help to me as well. So it's been a really I won't say a slow turnaround into from me managing everything to delegating, but it has in the last 3 to 4 years really gone that direction, and it's been really beneficial to the company, to me. It's given me actually a bit of a life, to have a really good team around me. So um, it's like everything everybody says, you're only as good as the team around you, and I'll stay true to that fact. It's so important. The strength of the company and who you are is based on the core group that's behind the company and who's working in the company. So, you know, um, critical hires, there's been many.
Yeah.
There's been a lot.
How many of you right now?
There's 17 of us.
10, 17. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what at what point did you realize like, oh, this is real? I'm like, and you were like, that moment where like business is going and you're like, and you actually start to see the future. Do you remember if there was like a particular project or a
Yeah,
particular moment where you're like, oh my God, this is what I was meant to be doing?
probably this project here
Mm.
behind
Oh,
me.
that's on your homepage.
Uh,
That's on your homepage.
that's on our homepage. So yeah, and we've done a lot of decent sized projects up to that, but That one was, it really, I suppose, gave me the opportunity to express who we are as builders from a craftsman side.
Beautiful.
Most importantly, so when I did that project, I really had a really good feeling that we needed to take this to the next level and do bigger, more challenging projects. And this project was on the water. Um, it's surrounded by water on a hill, and it was tough working there during the winter, but it really made us better people as a whole team, I think, and it really opened our eyes to where this business could potentially take us. And from there, that was 9 years ago. That was 10 years ago now,
Hmm.
little over 10 years ago, and that's where it really changed from there, and we just started to attract some really really cool projects, bigger projects, and more intricate and detailed projects with some phenomenal clients, and we started building some really good relationships with architects from that time. So that was probably the changer for us in our business. 2013, 2014, but I would have been in business almost 10 years at that stage,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but yeah, it's there's always an event or a project that really changes your mindset for what's the future going to hold. And for me, that was the project of where I wanted to take this and what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you ever, in those early years, did you ever feel like, the expression imposter syndrome?
mm. not not really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, no,
yeah.
never felt
Never,
never felt
never
that.
felt. Yeah, yeah. You always felt capable, confident. Of,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was a sponge growing up and still am, and I really educated myself on build practices. I was a lover and still am of the Fine Home Builder magazine, and I've been getting it for 20 plus years, and I would read that from cover to cover. And we used to follow Mike McCormack on it, and all these guys that are renowned craftsmen
yeah,
in the country. So that was. As I said, I used to read all these articles and just take in all this information that I could get, because, nobody told me or showed me how to do this. I had to self-educate. There was no, I didn't have somebody guiding me through the do's and don'ts of construction.
yeah,
I had to figure it out, and yeah, I made mistakes. We all did. But the big thing for me is, you make them and you learn from them and you never make them again.
yeah,
And constantly researching the industry for better products, better trade partners, vendors, etc. Um, and that's probably been a big part of where we started to where we are now.
yeah. So the mere fact that you put in your quote unquote 10,000 hours gave you, and you were passionate and committed to learning the craft, gave you the confidence
Yeah,
to approach any job that came to you.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's. I always say, listen, if you don't love it, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah,
And I love this business. I don't consider it work. And like the old saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your
yeah,
life. And it's something that I sleep, eat, and breathe.
yeah,
This business, and even to this day, you get a set of plans for a project, and the details may not align with the cut sections on some intricate stuff that we have done, and I love the opportunity to sit down and sketch and figure out these details, so I have something for my carpenters when we go to start to say, listen, you're going to see a bit of confusion in the plan, but this is what we need to do. So helping them in any way I can, and giving me an opportunity to really get creative, and how can I build this, or how can I get this detail to work. That's what I love. I love the challenges of stuff that I wouldn't have come across before, and it just really keeps the juices flowing, and keeps me alive.
How have you found, have you have you found like a niche or a particular type of client that that you tend to attract? Have you thought about who your ideal client is and how do you communicate, talk to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've had a wide range of clients from every type of personality you can imagine. We have worked for them. Um, what do I look for in a client? I suppose the most important thing for me is I want to work for good people.
Yeah.
I want to work for people that value what we're going to bring to the table from a craftsmanship standpoint, and my involvement with the company, and that day to day communication, and that bond that we're going to develop over the course of the project. Um, that's really important, and I suppose I have grown over the years to really sense on that first initial meeting if we're going to work well together, or if it's something that I need to pass up and move on. Because I often say to my team, I really don't care what's in somebody's bank account.
Yeah.
If they're not a good person, I don't want to work for them.
Yeah.
And that's first and foremost for me. Because I need to be able to get on with them. I need to be able to communicate with them, and the respect has to be mutual. From the client to my team, and from our team to the client. And when that bond is, you always tell in that first consultation if things are going to work really well or not. And for the most part they do, but there is the odd one that comes along that you have to leave on the table, and it could be a fantastic project, but you got to walk away from it
Yeah. Yeah.
because
And you
it's just
have,
not a good
and you
fit.
have for sure, right?
Yeah, we have, yeah, plenty we have left behind us because we just didn't get a good feeling
Yeah.
from the client,
Yeah.
but they're few and far between, and we haven't had one now in a while, thankfully. You know.
Yeah. 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 What's what's the future hold for you guys?
What's the future hold for us? So I suppose the near future is this new headquarters that we're going to be moving into. I think it's really going to be beneficial to the company for our growth. We're going to have space for additional office staff, PMs, etc. Um, and it's going to really give us an opportunity, I suppose, to fine tune how we build. And what do I mean when I say that? So in this new building, our plan is from midsummer of this year onwards. Every new home that we get to build, we're gonna pre-cut all the wall assembly components in the shop in a climatized, controlled environment, and ship them to site as we need them.
Okay.
So we're trying to be as efficient as we possibly can from a build perspective. How much can we do off site? Now, I'm not going to panelize these frames just from a logistical standpoint, but I'm going to pre-cut all our components in the shop. We think it's going to save us up to about 30% in time on site, where we're trying to eliminate as much cutting as possible on site. It's just a case of Lego, put it together. It's all labeled, palletized,
Yeah.
and it's ready for the guys when they start framing walls. So, what's the future hold? Other than that, I mean, you know, we're marketing hard at the minute, developing new relationships with new architect and design teams, and really trying to get our name out there as to who we are, what we do, and why do we do what we do. And we definitely feel there's an area in the market for a builder like us that's super committed to quality and client relationships. Client relationships, I suppose, number one, followed by quality, number two, because the relationship starts first. So that's our future, and hopefully do it for another 20 years,
Yeah.
Steve. That's the plan, and maybe my son. I would love for my son to get into this business. He's only 5, but that would be a dream if
Hold
he
on
could
20 years
come.
for him to
Yeah,
start working in it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully.
That's cool. That's very cool. All right. So that kind of leads into the part of the podcast where I give you any marketing or business advice. So, is there anything that you need help with or something that you need to think through marketing, business related?
Um, Not at the minute. We just we launched our first book last year,
Okay.
actually last October.
Okay.
So we made this book for the company,
Okay.
and the thought process behind the book was, you know, we're given a little deeper insight and a bit of a more personal touch to a prospective client or architect on who we are. So it's a lot of behind the scenes work in the book, along with finished projects and, you know, a history of where I came from, you know, continuing to craft on from, you know, my father and his father before him, and how I'm, you know, carrying this torch for my family into the future. So, you know, that's been really helpful for us. You know, we do the social media, the Instagram, the Facebook. You know, I don't have 100,000 followers. Not really interested in that, to be honest with you. The posts we put up, you know, I'm trying to help people out there on stuff and ways that we build and we've found beneficial for us. So, you know, my goal is, when I post a video on why we're doing something in a particular way, is I'm hoping it's going to help somebody else if they come into a scenario like we would. And that's my main core behind Instagram. I'm not on it for the attention, or I'm not on it for 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
I'm on it. I'm on it to help my fellow builders, carpenters, tradespeople as best I can, and you know, I'm always being introduced to new materials. So, you know, I love trying them out. I love experimenting with them, seeing how they work, seeing how don't they work, and if there's pluses and minuses, I'd like to let people know what they are from our standpoint. So, you know, from a marketing perspective, um, you know, we're just gonna, you know, keep focusing on making new relationships, because a lot of our work comes from right now. A lot of our work comes through architects and design
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
We still have X amount that comes through referrals and people that know of us, etc. So developing that relationship with the client, these new clients and architects, I suppose is really, really, really important for us moving into the future.
Okay. Um, but I'm not going to let you off the hook there, because the point of it is to offer value to you, and to offer value to the Woodpreneur community. Is there
Yeah.
anything that you'd like need to think through marketing wise this year, to get the name out even more beyond the book, or is there something that you'd like some
Yeah,
feedback on?
we're actually attending the Luxury Design Summit in Chatham. It's down near the Cape in May, so it's a pretty big event. We weren't there last year, but we're going this year, and we're super excited for that. So, you know, all the top builders, architects, and design professionals from the greater Boston area and the Cape will be at this event. So it's a really good networking event for us to meet people. And I love to have a chat with somebody. I love having that face to face conversation, and you really can tell a lot about somebody when you're having that open face to face conversation versus emails or on the phone. I think it's really, really important. Other than that, you know, I'm gonna, you know, keep busy on Instagram, see where it takes me. Um, and you know, I'd love to show you what this new HQ looks like when it's finished, and what our plans are for, you know, new homes, with equipment that we plan on purchasing, etc. To really expedite the way we build, and to the highest of precision.
Okay, well let me give you some feedback based off of what
Yeah, I'd
what
love
I,
to
what I see.
love
So
to hear
the
what you have to
website the
say.
website is great. It's beautiful. The one thing that I would love to see more of is some storytelling behind the builds. Because
Okay.
what will end up happening is that you have these beautiful stories, and again, you know, you guys been in business for 20 21 years, and so obviously what you do is working. But before people start, delving into the next phase of like making a big purchase, like I'm looking at this, the Westwood, Massachusetts home. For me,
Yep.
I think about who you taking pictures or telling the story behind the build, beyond like what was the client looking for, what was the process, and what happens afterwards. And
Yes.
if there is an opportunity to have a picture of the family in the house, or even if it's behind, because what will end up happening is something luxury, like luxury items, and I said this on another podcast, luxury items move quicker because of association. If people are able to see themselves in one of your properties, they can make the connection. And so
Okay.
oftentimes when it comes to design and architecture, they really focus on the space and the products, but people actually live in it. And so I'm
Yes.
thinking about your brand, your story,
Yep.
how you came about. Like you made a book and it's about you and your family. And I think you're more like you're family oriented, right? Like I think you are
Yeah.
community oriented.
100%.
Like and and so that's what I don't see come across in your marketing. Is like how do
Okay.
you tell more stories around you, the your team, and you do that on your Instagram, but like how does that come across? Because what will end up happening is if you tell more stories on your uh on your on your website, you will be able to get more higher ranked on the search engines, right? Because like you're telling stories, you're including locations, you're including keywords that are, but then not only that is, I bet you got people stalking your website and stalking your Instagram or your Facebook, but they want more, and
Mm,
they want more before they make that phone call, right? And
interesting.
so what I've been advocating for clients and for people is like, and like the builder community is, how do you um, tell more stories so that by the time people get to you, they already are pre-sold, not
Yeah.
just for the fact that you build it, but because you've told them a story and you've documented the process behind it.
Yep.
You're
I
busy
get you.
taking pictures all the time. You're busy taking videos all the time, and you show a small slice of it. So like
Okay.
I'm looking at this Westwood Mass home. I'm like, it's obviously beautiful. Like I want to hear the process.
Mm,
I want to see
yeah, I
pictures
know.
of I want to see pictures of you with the client in front of blueprints, pointing,
Yep.
right? And to
Yeah,
tell
understood. Yeah,
more
I
of
know.
a story.
I know. I know exactly what you're saying, and I've been trying to do that with Instagram. This past year, telling little stories behind the scenes of why we're having to do something in a particular way, and yeah, we do get some great feedback from that as well. So yeah, I definitely will take this on board, and I understand completely what you're saying. People want to see who the person telling the story before they actually make the call, and they
Yeah.
actually feel that they know you when that call is made, because they've been following you, whether it be social media or Facebook or
Yes.
Instagram, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the simple, easy fix, honestly, is to just add a blog to your website,
Blog. Okay.
and just you could call it a blog, you call it stories, just like, and maybe do one a month, right? Like a
Okay.
story behind the build, like
Yep.
especially that the one that really set you off, that picture behind you.
Yep.
Talk about what was challenging about it, or made you step up. Like talk about, I mean, it's your name on the building, right? And
True.
so
Yeah.
like use it as a testament to the history, so that as you sort of um as you continue to grow, you can even use it to onboard new staff members. Like, hey, look, this is our story, this is the people and the places and the values, and it's really easy. Like you could just have
Okay.
somebody interview you, and
Yes.
then you have pictures from that time. You convert
Yeah.
that video interview into a blog post,
Okay.
and then you could take that video interview and then actually make it into a a YouTube video that's embedded onto your web page, and then you can keyword it out and put everything, and then now you have two extra sources of traffic coming to your website. One from YouTube for people looking for Boston custom home builders, and then
Yep.
now you have people on YouTube and on Google.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, I really like that, Steve.
Yeah, was that
Thank you for
helpful?
the. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah. Again, I mean, you're at
That's
it
good
20
advice.
years, right? So for me, it's and when you're at 20 years, it's more about optimization. That's like a slight tweak can add an
Yes,
extra 10-20%. Boom.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's that's a
Yeah,
super
it's
idea.
optimization. Optimization is key, you know?
That sounds good, Steve. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Cool. All right, so tell everybody what's your website and what is your Instagram so folks can follow you.
So the website is www.mccormackbuilders. That's ACK builders.com, and the Instagram is McCormack Builders, McCormack Builders plural. That's our Instagram and website. Yeah, so check us out. We're very selective about the work we put up on our website. We have a lot of we have several projects that have been finished but won't be photographed until later this year. So expect some new stuff to be coming up on the website before this year is out. So
Awesome.
uh,
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time, sharing your beautiful work
appreciate
and,
it.
and your story with the Woodpreneur community.
Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate you having me on.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Steve. Bye.